Caan in The Gambler, tonight at 11:30 on Movie 13. WTVT Channel 13, Tampa, St. Petersburg.
College Kaleidoscope, presented by WTVT Channel 13 and the Schools of Higher Learning on the west coast of Florida. The program highlights the educational and extracurricular activities. And now your host for College Kaleidoscope, Alan Wendt.
Ray Dantzler is off on vacation this week. Thank you and good morning. St. Leo College Selby Auditorium comes to life this weekend on Thursday and Friday for December 9th and 10th as vaudeville returns. And that's one of those things that just never seems to die. And a group of young people that are trying to keep it alive are with us today here on College Cape. With me is Ken Fishman. And Ken, last year you put Follies 1 on. Follies 2 is back. How's it going to be different?
Well, last year we did a show and it lasted about 45 minutes. And this year we're doing Follies 2, Fishman's Follies 2, of course. And we're doing all new songs, all new jokes. So all of you that came last time, it'll be all new songs and all new jokes, dances, the whole thing.
You're a senior seeking a degree in theater and music and so forth, so I know you've done some research into vaudeville. Is this a period that you think we're losing a little bit of in the country?
Well, personally, I think vaudeville is coming back, which is the variety. A little history of vaudeville. It started in France, the Val de Vire, the French Val de Vire, in the Valley of Vire in Normandy, and they were sprightly songs and dances. And Tony Pastor picked it up, and he named it, he got it going as vaudeville. And Tony Pastor, in a way, our lives coincide. He worked with the circus, and he sang, he danced, he juggled, he did trapeze, he did tight ropes. And what he did was he roped off a section of the tent and did his own show, which was variety. And he got so good from this tent show that the guys didn't like it. The men that owned the tent show, they said, the circus, I mean, they didn't like it. So they got rid of him, and he started his own in New York. And that's more or less, that's what we know. There's other things where it might have started, but that's the basis where we know it started itself.
We today, many of us are far too young to remember the real vaudeville days, and we see performers like Johnny Carson and Henny Youngman, the king of one-liners and so forth. Was that real vaudeville, or did that come a little bit later in vaudeville's history?
Well, vaudeville, what they had was a variety, and they had a basis, like they had like 9 acts, for instance, and they had a certain spot, and you've heard some of these old time, like Bob Hope, Bing Crosby, when he was around, you remember him, and all of these old-timers, they used to say, well, I have the number 5 spot, or the number 4 spot. Now, that was the spot you wanted to shoot for, because in the beginning, you had certain spots. Like, in the start of the show, back in the vaudeville days, you had dances to start the show, like you're going to see today.
Kind of loosen up the audience.
Well, because the people were just coming in, and they were sitting down, and they weren't really listening, or they weren't looking at it, but they could hear it. So what you had is something they could see, so dancing or whatever, music, but nothing that they had to really listen to, pay attention, and pay attention to.
Something that would require some serious thinking.
Right, right. And so then you had your vaudeville acts, and this is where you got your comedy sketches and your song and dances, like Fred Astaire started in vaudeville, big man, and you have all these people. A show I worked with, Rozier Players, back in Jackson, Michigan. That's where I got my start, of course. And Spencer Tracy worked with this show, and I'm sure you've heard of Spencer Tracy. And he worked with this specific show that I worked with, and a lady showed us her ticket and everything. And I worked with the vaudeville show itself with Rozier Players back in Jackson. It was a rep tent show.
How authentic will this show be that you're going to be putting on Thursday and Friday?
Well, lack of funds, we can't get the we can't have the costumes and sets that we'd like to have, but we're getting this deep into that. I did a lot of history, and plus I worked with a great man, Harold Rozier, back in Jackson, and I've done a lot of research, and we're trying to get the style of the jokes, the style of the songs, of everything, and we're trying to keep it as much original as that goes. So we're trying to keep it tight. We're not trying to burlesque it up, or we're not trying to parody vaudeville at all. We're trying to be as authentic. We're not trying to...
Are you going to be trying to look for regional audiences, regional jokes, as opposed to just general vaudevillian acts?
No, I think, see, if I keep it in the framework, we're going to keep it filled. I don't think we're going to use regional jokes. We're going to use the old-type vaudeville skits. Some people will remember the jokes, and they're the one-liners, you know. It builds up to the big dramatic ending, the one-liner, and you know how it's going to end, but you laugh anyway because it's a good time.
You've got some of those for us today. Give us a setup, if you will, of what we're about to see.
Okay, today we're going to have a sing-along, an old-fashioned sing-along, and all you at home, I hope you join right in, because I know everybody here at the station is going to join in. And we're having 3 sing-alongs, Your Grand Old Flag, Dark Time Strutter's Ball, and 5'2". Then we're going to have a joke. Then we're going to have a song and dance with Wendy Ledoux and myself. And then she's going to sing, and we're going to have juggling, and then another
song. About everything that you've come
right,
to see.
Variety. That's
all right, well, I'll tell you what, let's get right on with the show. We'll tell you in a couple of minutes where you'll be able to see it. It's a free show, too, by the way. So, Ken, who's director and choreographer of this show, take it away.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do an old-fashioned sing-along like they used to do in the old vaudeville days. Now, this is a chance for all you people at home to join right in, and I'm sure you know all of these songs. So we'd like to start with one of my favorites, Your Grand Old Flag. And join right in at home. Clap, have a good old time. Your grand old flag, your high-flying flag, and forever and peace may you wave. You're the anthem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. Every heart beats true over red, white, and blue, where there's never a foe's no right. For to all the quaint and people got, keep your eye on that grand old flag. You know, I'm sure I can hear you all the way over the airwaves. And now, for our next song today, we're going to sing one of my favorites again, Darktown Strutter's Ball. And everybody join right in. I'll be down to Jackie in a taxi, honey. You better be ready about a $30. Now, dearie, don't be late. I want to be there when the band starts playing. Remember when we get there, honey. The feet steps, I'm gonna have 'em up. I'm gonna get close to my shoes. When they play the Johnny Roll. Tomorrow night at the Darktown Strutter's Ball. Very good. I'm sure it was excellent at home, folks. For our last song, we're going to get Wendy Ledoux.
My favorite.
Wendy's favorite. Okay.
Yes, 5'2", eyes.
Last chance at home. Join right in. 5'2", has anybody seen my gal? Turn up low, turn up low.
Has anybody seen my
gal? Now if you run into a 5'2", covered with fur, diamond rings and all those things, but your life in it every you love Has anybody seen my gal? Very good, thank you. Oh, why don't you take this away, Wendy? Now I'd like to perform for you an old vaudeville joke. This brings to mind, reminiscing about vaudeville. It brings to mind days when I used to, be back home. And what I had to do one year was at my church, since it is a Christmas time, it was a Christmas story. Well, they had me direct the local Christmas show, and it happened to be the Nativity. Well, I cast everybody in the whole show. I had, everybody in the whole show, except I couldn't find, and this was in Jackson, Michigan, mind you, I couldn't find anybody to play the 3 wise men. In all of Jackson, Michigan, I couldn't find one single wise man. Well, anyway, I looked if I may, and I still couldn't find him. So I thought, why don't I look and ask my 3 cousins, Ernie, Daniel, and Boog. That's right, Ernie, Daniel, and Boog. Well, they lived kind of way off out in the no man's land, out in Frogtown. Well, I went out there to trace through to find Ernie, Daniel, and Boog, and I said, Ernie, Daniel, and Boog, can you help me out of a situation I'm in? I need to find people to play this part here. I said, well, Cousin Ken, what do we got to do? Well, I said, all you have to do is take the good book here, the Bible, open to Matthew 2nd chapter, read exactly what it says, and do exactly what it says. Come here, dress rehearsal the night before the show, and then we'll work it out. We'll do the show, and we'll be ready for the performance. I said, okay, Cousin Kim, we'll do it. Well, they leave. They go back to Frogtown. Well, comes dress rehearsal in there. They just look like they normally do. Their suspenders and their jeans, and they're just sprawled out, just normal, everyday clothes, and I'm going, now, Ernie, Daniel, and Boog, what do you dress like that for? And they go, well, we didn't know what to do. I said, look, you take this here good book, like I said, you open it to Matthew 2nd chapter, do exactly what it says. I want you here no later than 8:15. You got me? Okay, Cousin Kim. Well, they leave. Well, night of the show, it's 8:45. And I look at my watch, 8:45. No Ernie, Daniel, and Boog from Frogtown, okay? Then it's 5 days. They come traipsing in, and I look. What do you think they're wearing? They're wearing a fireman's boots, fireman's pants, fireman's suspenders, fireman's hat, the whole shebang, fireman. I'm going, Ernie, Daniel, Boog, what in the world are you wearing these clothes for? They said, look, Cousin Kim, we did exactly what it says here in the book. 3 wise men come from afar. Now, for your entertainment pleasure, we'd like to sing for you a little song and dance. Hit it, Sylvia. Folks in Georgia's about to go insane since that new dance down in Georgia came. I'm the only person who's to blame. I'm the party introducer there, so give me credit to know a thing or two. Give me credit for bringing something new. I will show this little dance to you. When you see, you'll say, so there. First you put your 2 knees across out tight, then you sway 'em to the left and you sway 'em to the right. You step around the floor, kind of nice and light. Then you twist around with all of your might. Stretch your arms and arms way out in space. Then you do the Eagle Rock with a silent grace. Then you put way around in a breeze back. Now that's what I call balling the jack. Well, I gotta go, Wendy. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye, Ken.
Bye-bye. Have a good time, Wendy.
I will. Goodbye, Tootsie, goodbye. Tootsie, don't cry. The choo-choo train that takes me. Unusual, you know how sad it makes me. Kiss me, Tootsie, and then turn it over again. Your mother will, I'll never tell. If you don't get a letter, then you know I understand. Goodbye, Tootsie, don't cry. Tootsie, goodbye. What's the matter?
Who is this?
Why, it's me.
Oh, thank goodness. I thought it was me. Well, dropped my hat here. Well, my wife does all my clothes making here, and, speaking of my wife, me and my wife, we used to go to a lot of vaudeville shows back in our days. Well, plus me and my wife, we used to do a lot of hunting. You know what hunting is? You get your gun and your little dog and you go out there and you go hunting. Well, me and my wife, we decided to go hunting. So I go, come along, Bessie, let's go hunting. Well, I get my trusty 2-shooter, slings it on my shoulder, bring my old dog to my side, and my wife and I goes hunting. Well, we go out walking, hunting with my gun and my dog and my wife, and all of a sudden my wife goes, did you see that? Did you see that? And I go, see what? I didn't see anything. She goes, honey, I told you 100 times you need glasses. Your eyes ain't as good as they used to be. And she's going on and on and on and nagging and the hand pecking me. Well,
We goes a little further. And we goes in the little bit of edge of the woods, and all of a sudden, she goes, did you see that? Did you see that? I go, see what? I didn't see anything. I said, you didn't see that old pheasant just flying away up out of there? I said, no, I didn't see anything flying away up out of there. She goes, honey, I told you 100 times you need glasses. Your eyesight ain't as good as it used to be. And she's a hen picking me and a hen picking me and a hen picking me. Well, we go a little bit further out the edge of the woods. All of a sudden, we stop. My wife goes, did you see that? Did you see that? I thought, no, I didn't see anything. Did I see what? She goes, you didn't see that big elk deer just leaping across in front of you? I said, no, I didn't see no big elk deer. She goes, honey, I told you 100 times you need glasses. Your eyesight ain't as good as it used to be. She was a hand picking me and a hand picking me and a hand picking me, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, hand picking. Well, what happens is we go across this big cow pasture, and we're walking. My wife goes, did you see that? Did you see that? And me being wise to her ways, I go, puts my trusty 2-iron down. I said, of course I saw it. And she said, if you saw it, why did you step in it? Well, me and my wife, we didn't go hunting very much after that. I don't know why. Well, anyway, what happens was, I used to do a lot of swimming when I was a boy, back in Jackson, Michigan. Well, we had our old swimming hole down in Frogtown by the Grand River. Well, what happened was, I used to go swimming, and me and my friends, we used to go swimming in the bucks, and no clothes, just totally nude. Well, I decided to go back there after some years, and I'm looking in the distance, and I hear giggling and a splashing, just like we used to do in the old swimming hole in Frogtown. Well, I get there, and I see that the overbrush has grown over, and underbrush has gone under. I guess that's why they call it over and underbrush. Well, anyway, I makes my way through this stuff, and I see them's not boys, them's girls, and they swimming just the way we was, no clothes on. Well, they all ducked their heads down when they saw me a-coming. I don't know why. Well, they saw me, except this one redhead, about as red as my bow tie here. Well, she was looking at me all evil-eyed. I saw her feeling around at the bottom of that old swimming hole there in Frogtown. She pulls up this big wash tub, you know, them wash tubs. When she pulls it up, puts it in front of her, comes straight up to me and says, do you know what I think? Do you know what I think? And I said, yeah, you think there's a bottom to that tub. I must have your attention. Come on now, gather near. I hope that you won't mention this thing you're gonna hear. I know you won't believe it, what I'm about to say, but still here goes, for goodness homestead, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, I was. I was taking care of the gardens for a while this summer.
I know I've been gone for quite some time since, I've been out just gallivanting around the countryside, dancing and singing. What's been going around in my house? I used to care.
Not much happened, but your dog died.
Fido, my little... Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
but how does my dog die?
Well, your dog ate the horse, and then your dog died.
Wait a minute. Dog eat the horse? How did my dog eat the horse?
Well, the barn caught on fire, then your horse died, and your dog ate the horse, and the dog died.
Probably my true story. Hey, how did my barn catch on fire?
Well, the flames from the house went onto the barn caught on fire, then your horse died, then your dog ate the horse, and the dog died.
My beautiful sweet story, Homer 16 bears. I don't believe. How did my house catch on fire?
Well, the candles caught on the drapery, see? And then your house caught on fire, then the flames from the house went onto the barn caught on fire, then your horse died, then your dog ate the horse, and the dog died.
No, Wendy. We don't have candles. We have electricity in our house. This is modern times. Come on now. Candles in my house?
The candles were on the coffin. Then the candles caught on the draperies, the house caught on fire, the flames from the house went onto the barn caught on fire, then your horse died, then your dog ate the horse, and the dog died.
Coffin? Who was in the coffin?
Your mother-in-law. Then the flames from the candles from the coffin went onto the draperies, the house caught on fire, the flames from the house went onto the barn caught on fire, your horse died, the dog ate the horse, and the dog died.
Mother-in-law? How did my mother-in-law die?
Well, she had a heart attack when your wife ran off with the postman. Then the candles on her coffin got under the draperies, the house caught on fire, the flames from the house went on the barn caught on fire, your horse died, the dog ate the horse, and the dog died. Oh, Ken, besides that, not much happened. But I'm sorry about your dog.
Doggone it, the show is just about over, folks. Well, in the olden days, what they used to do with songs, they used to take songs that were ballads for the fighting men, and they were popular ballads, and they took these songs and they made them tempos that were sprightly and choppy so that they could march to them and go fight for the country that they loved. Well, today I'd like to sing a song for you and add a little flair at the end where I'll sing it fast and then do it the way that it would have been sped up. And our song is, It's a Long Way to Tipperary. It's a long way to Tipperary. It's a long way to go. It's a long way to Tipperary, to the sweetest girl I know. Goodbye, Piccadilly. Farewell, Leicester Square. It's a long, long way to Tipperary, but my heart is right there.
Trying to let Ken Fishman catch his breath here. That was great. Ken, why don't you introduce the rest of the members of your troupe here with you?
Our song and dance woman is Wendy Ledoux. Joe Brezza on the trumpet. Tim Higgins on bass, and he will be playing banjo for the show. And Sylvia Wells on piano. And we have also a drummer who is incapacitated at the moment, and his name is Jack McTagg.
You know, I was going to ask you, I didn't see the drummer. Usually after the one-liners, I guess today all I hear is this brum brum, but there was no drummer.
Well, actually, that got started after the vaudeville shows were rolling, and people wanted to add a little spice because people heard these jokes so much that there were groans, right? See, you know what's going on. So what they did is to cover up the groans, they went ba-dum boom. And that's how they got in. And that really wasn't the actual vaudeville style from the original start. That just was added in just like most of the things are nowadays.
Okay. Give us a little information about the show Thursday and
All right,
Friday.
the show is Thursday and Friday, December 9th and 10th. The show starts at 8 o'clock. Doors open at 7:30. Get seats. They're going to be taken. The band concert, which is going to be great, starts at 7:45. Free admission. You can't beat that. Now we have popcorn and lemonade sold, 25 cents each,
Wow, a lot more than vaudeville days.
Not much. It was
Inflation.
only 10 cents in vaudeville days. So it's a good time, family entertainment, fun for the whole family. So come early, 7:30, 7:45, the band starts, 8 o'clock show starts, and fun for the whole family. Show lasts approximately an hour or so, and come to have a good time.
Now, for those not familiar with the St. Leo College auditorium there, could you give us some directions if they're, say, coming from the Tampa area on Interstate 75?
Well, I'm not from this area, so all I can say is call St. Leo College. It'll be written on your screen, Humanities Department, and they'll give you information. And it's not really hard to find.
I think you take, what, State Road 52?
52.
52. It's really
Okay.
easy to find. It's just east off of the interstate there. All right, this is going to be at 7 o'clock, the doors open, 7:45 then
7:30
for the band.
7:30 the doors open, 7:45 the band, 8 o'clock the show starts.
And no admission. That's good. Now, are you raising no admission, so there's no funds involved here? You're not trying to raise money for a group?
We want to get the people back into vaudeville. Then once we get them back into it, we can start to charge to have better costumes, lights, and a tour maybe to the surrounding community. So if anybody would like the show to go on the road, you can also call Humanities Department.
Okay, Ken. Thanks a lot for being with us. Ken Fishman
Thank you,
from
Mr. White.
St. Leo College. Ray Dantzler will be back with us next week on College K. Good morning.
This has been College Kaleidoscope, presented by WTVT Channel 13 and the Schools of Higher Learning on the West Coast of Florida as a public service. The preceding was recorded on videotape.
Now,